Let's talk about decisions for a little bit. Decisions, you can think of it as the steering wheel of your life. Okay, it's kind of the joystick. It's the control pad, because the decisions you make are what steer your life in one direction or the other. And every single day, whether you realize it or not, you are steering your life in certain directions based on the decisions that you make. For example, your health. You are steering your health by the decisions you make. By choosing to eat this, have a second serving of this, have a third serving, to choose to drink that, or choose to exercise this. The decisions you are making are steering the course of your life. Your career. You show up at work tomorrow. You're going to make a decision. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to get my work done. I'm going to be diligent. I'm going to be responsible. Or I'm going to play solitaire. I'm going to check my Facebook. I'm going to hang out by the water cooler. The decisions you make are writing the story of your career. That's not your boss writing the story. That's not me. That's not God. That's you writing your own story. Your marriage. You're writing the story of your marriage. And some of you may not even be married, but you are writing the story before you're even married. Because whatever you do before marriage, you bring that in. You don't leave that at the door. Wouldn't that be nice if that was the case? If we could just kind of leave it at the door, but that's not what happens. You're writing the story of your future marriage, or your current marriage, or what you or your grandkids and what they're going to see. Like, you're writing that story with every decision that you make. And in case you ever forget it, some of us need look no further than our picture in the mirror, okay, and to see our shape, and to see that our shape is directly caused by decisions made in the past. Now, here's the kicker. Here's the part where it gets worse. So far, you're with me on that, and you maybe thought about that before, but here's the part where it gets worse. Did you realize that not only are the decisions you're making impacting your life, but it even goes beyond your life. It's impacting the lives of others. If you're a parent, every decision you make is affecting your kids. It's affecting your spouse. It's affecting your friends, affecting your coworkers, could be your parents. And some of us, think about this. This is what I hear all the time. Some of us, we can look back at our lives and say, where we are today, my life is here today, is directly caused by a decision that somebody else made. By a decision that my dad made, or that my mom made, or that my uncle made, or that my boss made. And some of us, we say our whole life, because of the decision there, just think to yourself, how would my life be different if, and then we could fill in the blank here. How would my life be different if my mom or my dad learned to deal with their anger? How could my life be different if my mom or dad learned to deal with their anger? How could my life be different if so-and-so had asked for help with their depression? How would my life be different if so-and-so hadn't left? How would my life be different if so-and-so had just said sorry? You want to go back even further? Those people who affected your lives, maybe their lives were affected by people even before them. That's why, I'm going to say it this way, there's no such thing as private decisions. There's no such thing as nobody else's business. I do what I want to do. No. Private decisions have public implications. You're smart enough to figure this out. It sounds good, nobody bother me, I make whatever, that sounds nice. But that isn't reality. Reality is private decisions have public implications. And you don't know, listen carefully to this one, I don't mean to scare you, I'm going to turn it around a little bit here. But you don't know who hangs in the balance of your decisions today. You don't know who, future, or what hangs in the balance of the decisions that you make today. Now, I know you hear that and you're like, we're doomed. We're all doomed. That's not what I'm not trying to go in a we're doomed direction right here. Actually, the goal is the exact opposite. The goal of discussing this is to make you feel like you're not doomed. To make you, to realize that you can sit in the driver's seat, that you can control it. You're not a victim. Okay, you're not just, that's how other people do it. You can sit in the driver's seat and you can steer the ship whichever direction you want. And the way you do that is by your decisions. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 3 says it this way. It says, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. We want to be that first one, that prudent, that see the danger ahead and take refuge. That see what's going to happen, that this decision is going to lead to that, so we want to turn the ship around. We want to change course before we pay that penalty. Last week, for those who are here, I was talking about how time flies. I was talking about how Y2K. Remember Y2K? Raise your hand if you know what Y2K is. Okay, very good. Some people do. Some people are like, that's okay. We dealt with them last week, okay, those youngins. And I was talking about last week about how time flies. And I was at a gathering not too long ago, and we were talking about New Year's, and I was saying, with the 20-somethings, and I was saying, which your New Year's you remember? And I was saying, oh, I remember Y2K, and one girl was like, what's Y2K? And another girl was like, isn't that a fashion statement? Or like, ah. And we were talking about how time flies. Like Y2K for me was like last week. Well, look here. That was 24 years ago, and I talk about it like it was last week, and some of you are with me. You know what? Less than a year from now is going to be 2025. 2025 is, I assume by then, okay, but I don't know, but that's halfway to 2050. A year from now is halfway to 2050. 2050 for sure will be flying to work in jetpacks like the Jetsons, 1,000%, okay? So a year from now, we will be halfway between Y2K, which was yesterday, as far as I'm concerned, and 2050, the Jetsons. This year, before you know it, is going to be done. What do you want said about this year? How do you want this year to turn around? You're in the driver's seat, so you can steer. I'm not saying you can control, but you can steer by the decisions that you make. So do you want this to be the year? This is the year that my marriage fell apart officially. This is the year that it completely dissolved. Or this is the year that we turned that bad boy around. This is the year. This was a hard year, but we rolled up our sleeves. We got the counseling. We invested. We started praying together. This was the year that turned the ship around. You can write the story. You want this to be the year. I want this to be the year for you. It says you took a chance. You asked her out. You got off the bench. You stopped being scared. You took a chance. You risked it, and you got rewarded for it. Or this could be the year that, just like the year before, that you let fear dictate, and fear of rejection and fear of what's going to happen. That dictated your year. This could be the year with whatever area that you're thinking about that's on your heart right now. The trajectory changes. I'm not saying everything's going to change for good, but this could be the year that the ship was pointing this direction. This could be the year that the ship is pointing this direction. And how we're going to get there is by the decisions that we make. And because, as I said earlier, you don't know who or what hangs in the balance of those decisions, you owe it to them and to yourself to ask the right questions. Like I said, even if you do nothing with the answer. Because you don't know who hangs in the balance. You don't know what hangs in the balance. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to the people that you love and that love you to ask good questions. Because good questions lead to better decisions. Better decisions lead to fewer regrets.